Hi gang, Rob here. It is 7 March 2013 and we've got a knife review. Not just any knife review. This one is on the excellent, the outstanding, the dare I say legendary Spyderco Military. As you might know if you've been following my knife reviews, I have a special place in my heart for significant things. Many of you have seen my review on the Buck 110 folding hunter. You could make the case that that knife was the most significant folding knife of the second half of the 20th century. Designed in the early 1960s, sold I think almost in the millions in the second half of the 20th century. It was a pioneer in locking folding knife technology. The Spyderco Military, I think, just as significant. And in many ways, significant for similar reasons. Let's talk about that. Both the Buck 110 and the Spyderco Military are knives that are accessible to the ordinary man. Both of them a little more expensive than your average pocket knife for their time. Both of them rather large, full-size folding knives. Both of them used, let's say, state-of-the-art but proven materials and technology for their time. Both of them classic in their design, flawless in their function, and among people who appreciate folding knives, both of them highly praised. Well, let's talk a little bit about the Spyderco Military. Way back when, around the turn of the century, the 21st century that is, someone asked Spyderco founder Sal Glesser, Sal, if you had to send your son away to war, what folding knife would you send him with? Sal thought about it and responded with something like, I don't know. I guess I better build one. And the military was born. Let's talk about specifics on this knife. Nothing revolutionary here. We have a CPM S30V, according to Spyderco, modified clip point blade. It's kind of like their leaf blade with a flat spine. So we have a state-of-the-art steel, extremely good at what it does, holds a great edge, is easy enough to sharpen, not the easiest, very rust resistant, takes a super keen edge, adequately tough, which is kind of important when you have a tip that fine. We have medium texture G10 scales, which actually are handle slabs. A semi-open construction. The knife is closed where the aluminum backspacer is. Other than that, it's open, able to be taken apart, flushed while it's together of any debris. We have a pivot that is fairly standard. It's adjustable with a Torx bit. I think that one's a T10 on the military. The blade rides on phosphor bronze washers, not super thick ones, but plenty adequate. It does have nested partial stainless steel liners. And contrary to a popular folk legend, both liners are stainless steel. A lot of people think the locking leaf and the liner that surrounds it on that side of the knife are titanium. Not true. They're stainless steel. We have a knife that has a handle length of 5.5 inches, a blade length of 4 inches even, which gives you an overall length. Math majors, help me out here. What is that, 9.5 inches? Blade thickness of 4 millimeters. Diameter of the excellent spider hole is 14 millimeters. Finish on this blade is a nice satin finish. Let's see. Oh, weight. 5.5 inch handle, 4 inch blade. Wicked strength, 4.2 ounces. It's light, it's thin, it's super strong, cuts like crazy. Let's talk about super strong. There is no blade play in this knife in any direction. I mean, I can't grab it at the tip and make this knife move. 4.2 ounces, weighs nothing, super strong, and check out the smoothness here, guys. I'm just going to try to open this slowly after I overcome the detent. Did you see that? There was no jerking. The knife is just butter. Now I did my normal disassembly, polish, lubricate, but I'll tell you, the knife is well made. It is really well made. Now I've heard some people knock the military, and as with any knife, you put it in the hands of enough knife geeks, and they all try to impress each other with how much they know and how much they can criticize something that's famous. There are some things that you can complain about with the military, I guess, and people do. The fasteners are too small. Okay. There are no locating pins for the knife. We're relying on 4 very small Torx screws in the middle of the body of the knife, screwed into a soft aluminum backspacer to sort of hold it all together. You can strip the aluminum if you take it apart and don't be careful enough times. There aren't any machined steel pins locating the slabs, maintaining their position. However, I do have a counter to that. Although this backspacer and these screws are not precise locators, although the stop pin is not nested into the G10 and used as a locating pin, you still have them. You see the lanyard tube? If you've ever had one of these knives apart, you know that is a precision slip fit into very tight toleranced G10. And then you've got the pivot. Again, a very tight slip fit into both the stainless steel liners and the G10. There's not going to be a lot of motion in this direction because you've got a beefy pivot and a rather beefy lanyard tube made out of stainless steel maintaining the position of everything in this knife. Yes, the screws look small. Yes, we like to see pillar construction, nested pillars, precisely locating things in a large knife. But all I have to say, guys, is grab a hold of it and try to find a weakness. Now, I know that because there are maybe hundreds of thousands of these knives in people's hands, you can find a YouTube video of a guy with a military, and maybe he wants to make a name for himself by trashing the one in his hand. And granted, they haven't made every one of them perfectly, I'll guarantee you. but by and large, it's a Golden, Colorado produced Spyderco. It does what it does very well. Now, let me tell you my history with this knife. For years, I lamented my lack of enthusiasm for the military. Why? Well, let's take a look at why. Did you see what hand I just used? Yes, I'm a lefty, and militaries are not ambidextrous knives. I didn't like that it was a right-hand clip location only. I don't really like tip-down carry, and I wasn't going to spend over $100 for a knife and have to either put it in my right pocket or pull it out of my left pocket and flip it around to open it. Just wasn't going to do it. So imagine my delight when the military became available in a left-hand version. As soon as I found out about it, I snapped this one up, and I quickly adjusted to the tip-down carry. Actually, on a handle this long, I almost prefer it. I don't have to extract it from a pocket and work my way down the handle to get to the deployment mechanism. It just comes out. I can either Spidey drop it, or it comes out, it rolls back into my hand and whack with the thumb, or it rolls back into my hand and whack with the middle finger. Many ways to get this knife open, all very quick, and I love it as a lefty. Although I have to tell you, it's kind of hard to get used to closing a liner lock the conventional way for me, because I'm so used to reaching over and pulling the lock toward my hand with my thumb. But I just love to carry this thing. I love it. I also own a paramilitary too, which I think you might have seen in another video. Also a great knife. And, you know, for a long time after I got my para, I kept hoping they would make a Generation 2 military using the compression lock and making it ambidextrous, you know, like the paramilitary 2 is. But frankly, guys, the more I carry this Millie, the more I like it just the way it is. Now, if you buy one of these, you may notice when you get it brand new, the lock may be a little sticky, and it's not going to want to engage fully unless you really open the knife with authority. Mine was that way. And the reason being is that there is actually a radius cut into this knife tang. It's not a straight angled mating surface for the lock. It's got a radius. And actually the leading edge of that radius is not the low point on that lock. I don't know if you can see that. But the locking leaf actually has to overcome a little point before it settles in to that liner, and it'll wear in. Give it a couple days. Use it a little while. It'll jump from being super early to about 40%, and then it'll stay there forever. There's no stick after it breaks in. You didn't hear anything. It's a brilliantly designed knife. You know, in this world you got Smith & Wesson revolvers, Buck 110s, 350 Chevys, and Spyderco militaries. I think this is going to be the most significant folding knife of the first half of the 21st century, available for every man. You know, you can make a case for the Chris Reeves Sebenza. Some people might make a case for the Benchmade 710. I might have been one of those guys till I had this in my hand for a couple of years. I just love Spyderco, guys. I've had some bad Spyderco knives. I don't like everything they do. But by and large, they hit it out of the park many more times than they strike out. I don't know if you can see, this has got my edge on it. This was one of my knives that didn't come great. Wasn't very symmetrical out of the box, etc. But I don't mind reprofiling the blade to make it like I want it. This was one of those. My advice to you guys, if you don't have one, get one. Grace to you and peace from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. Have a good night, guys.